Okay, welcome in, everyone. We are live. We are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think every social, like every platform in existence right now. This is the Global MediaTech Convergence event on Gamer Jibe inside a virtual environment. And I'm with Johnny Zazzaro, Johnny Z, founder president at MediaTech Ventures. John, thanks for jumping in with your avatar today.
I'm really excited to have you, Chris, founder Level Up Experience, help navigate this wonderful event in celebration of media, technology, and innovation. So hello, everybody, and welcome. We're really excited. We have an incredible program for you today, and you can watch it. You can be a part of it. I think the things that I love most about what it is that we're doing today. So those of you that don't know who MediaTech Ventures is or what we do, or you kind of know who we are and kind of know what we do, which we get quite a bit. I'm going to show you a quick little video. Yeah, there you go, Pete. You need that beret. You got to wear that more often. And I'm going to show you a quick little video about us to kind of kick it off and who we are.
Hey, John, sorry about that. I think we had some audio issues on that. John, you with me?
Yep.
All right.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, a couple of shout outs on socials. Thanks for being on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. Make sure to jump in and let us know where you're coming from. We'll pull up questions throughout as well. We're going to have a couple, like 5-10 minute segments to take questions from the audience. I hope you guys are doing well. I know some of their environment as well. So, but feel free to jump into chat and let us know. Peter, what's going on, man? Mark's there. Ruben Robledo, everybody else. Carrie, thanks for jumping in. All right, so what we got up first, John?
So I'm getting so many messages from people. This is awesome.
Yeah, no worries. I know we're going to talk to Joe Lee, the CEO over at Gamer Jibe. Actually trying to look over here to see if available. We're trying to bring him on to StreamYard. We're going to do it in just a moment. I think Joe's here. Actually, going to bring Joe in right now. Give me 1 second, you guys. And there he is, Joe.
Hey, nice to be on the show. Nice to meet. Great to see you again, Chris, John. I'm really excited about this event.
Glad to be here, and glad you can join us, Joe. I really love the Gamer Jibe environment, what you guys have built, and wanted to kind of send it over to you for a minute, talk a little bit about Gamer Jibe, who you guys are, where you're at, and what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what you see here is really a new, unique way to engage at virtual events. Really what our mission is to make it really easy for people to create and share these immersive experiences with anyone, anywhere. So the events industry is gigantic, right? It's over $1 trillion globally. And the virtual event space is subject to actually grow from 80 billion to 800 billion over the next decade. So it's a really great opportunity here with everything going on, as well as future of work and remote work scenarios. And our platform creates this new value and aims to solve the lack of engagement and monetization found in virtual events. So what you see here is a closed beta, an insider look around what we've built and what we've accomplished so far. And I'm sure you'll hear more about this over the course of next year. So thank you again for inviting me onto this show. And this event seems like it's underway with the holiday spirit. So that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of Christmas hats.
Yeah, exactly.
And Joe will be in the environment, and a lot of the Gamer Drive folks are. Look for their logo, and their names are golden. So if you have any questions, click on them, get to know them. One of the things I love about this, you can click on somebody's avatar, get hooked up to the LinkedIn right away, add them, and then continue the conversation from there. So, Joe, what have you seen and what have you noticed in kind of the event space now, right? We know that events aren't happening, and we know that people are looking for alternatives, and this is one of those alternatives. So what are people coming to you guys and what's on their wish list?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, I think typically when we think about virtual events, we think about webinars, primarily webinars, and virtual events where it's more webcam and video based focused. And what we've seen is that people want something different. People are bored and tired about being on Zooms all day, being on video chats all day. And a lot of these new platforms coming out, they do a really great job adding event infrastructure to enable these type of virtual events to happen, which is awesome. But we take it up the next level to really create a really engaging and immersive feel to these virtual events, similar to what we've seen with physical events, but tying in the benefits of digital. So the folks who have come in trying to run events with us or who are interested in our solution, they want something different. And we've been serving them through this beta platform so far. And we're really excited about some of the features that we've developed here. Awesome.
So check out the Gamer Drive booth, everybody. You can click on the slides. You can check them out, talk to Joe. Everybody's inviting me to private chats. Can't talk in the private chats right now, folks. Watch the StreamYard, reach out. And what's the, so Joe, can you talk a little bit about our relationship that we have with you guys?
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why, we're here today.
Yeah, John and Paul are really great friends and advisors for us. And we've actually been a part of their collective incubator program down in Austin. And since then, their program has expanded globally. So we first met them in Austin, and they've been a part of our journey ever since. They've been really big supporters of ours, and we really like working with both John and Paul, who are really excited about the future of digital and media.
Awesome. So we're gonna walk around a little bit, and we're gonna get to the panel pretty soon here. But I do want to go back. I am sharing my screen, I believe, with audio this time, Chris. If we can give that another shot on the MediaTech video.
Technology to make the most of capital investment in this industry. We focus on startups that leverage, can scale, and are fixing media through technology.
So we play in the space of every industry by default, almost. And now more than ever, people are relying on media to give them the right information.
Startup incubators, venture programs such as Funded House, specialized curriculum for founders and platforms for innovation in media. Society knows how to thrive in this evolved economy.
We can still connect as humans digitally. And I think now more than ever, we have the technology to do so.
As we all redefine how to work with public, private, and corporate interests, an example of evolved media, our incubator collective is seeing 25% of the startups seed funded while still in the program, helping demystify media innovation and venture funding.
And so we want to continue to pursue those types of relationships but also make sure that the content and the conversations are still providing value in substance, right, to the communities that we serve.
Excelling media, scaling technology requires a unique, unfair advantage, and MediaTech Ventures has the experience, technology, and resources to help you do just that. Media evolves. Join us in the future of media.
Boom.
All right, we are back from the physical world to the
Man,
virtual.
there's so many people in here. It's like I'm like even getting a little, claustrophobic here. Let's go over to the presentation room because we have some incredible people
Here we go.
coming in to talk a little bit more about kind of global innovation and collaboration.
Yeah, just real quick, I'm virtual vlogging, inside of a metaverse, and I know it sounds like two different layers there, but I think it's a really interesting concept. Just kind of throwing that out there for any viewers kind of watching. So my job is to follow John around. So we're in the presentation room. Okay, we're gonna bring our panelists on. Can you just give us one moment? John, tell us a little bit about the presentation room. I know you've had some experience with it before.
Yeah, and I don't see the slide on your. So if you want, I could always share my screen because I've got the slide up in the presentation room.
Sure. So
what I like about the presentation room is, just gives us the ability to be more in that classroom setting. And today we're having joined with us a lot of incredible individuals that we have known for some of them a lot longer than others. And what we have started doing is really figuring out how to bring together startup ecosystems all over the world, right? So we got Marco Saladini from the Italian Trade Agency, Camilo Diaz from ProColombia joining us, and Ronald Lim from BSN Global, or Moses Park. Either one of them should be joining us here in a second. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. How you guys doing?
Thank you for having us, John and Chris.
I like seeing everybody in like the movie theater seats. This is great. Great. What's up, Moses?
What's up?
Awesome. So I want to do a round of introductions because we certainly have a lot to talk about in regards to what you all do and how we can continue to work together to bridge the gap between startup ecosystems and innovation and provide more resources to either network people or capital. So Marco, I'd like to begin with you a little bit about yourself and what the Italian Trade Agency does.
Absolutely. Thanks again for inviting me. And I'm very happy to be in the company of some colleagues and some other people that I'm eager to know. We have had this office in Chicago probably for 50 or 60 years now. We are an Italian governmental agency that is tasked with improving the chances of Italian companies to do business overseas and also to attract investments to Italy. And we are active in the field of startups, as we then will discover along the lines of this conversation today. And that's why also we got in touch with MediaTech Ventures and their partners for a new project that we'll discuss later. Yeah.
Awesome. Over to you, Camilo.
Yeah. So thanks for the invitation. So I'm part of ProColombia. I'm based in Miami, leading the team of, like Marco just mentioned, ProColombia being the promotion agency of the country, helping companies in Colombia to do better business, do international business, and attracting as well foreign direct investment opportunities to Colombia. So we've been around for many years, always helping companies understand what it is to the changes and adjustments that they need to make in order to do business in the US and other countries in the world. Heavily reliant on the services sector, very excited about, working with MediaTech Ventures in this special project this year, which has been a very, a different year for many of us, but nevertheless, always very much looking forward to understanding this market better and providing our companies, our clients with better information and linking up with partners like MediaTech Ventures to become, better at what we do.
Awesome. And then over to you, Moses. Beasting
All
Global.
right. Yeah, at Beasting Global, we are the bridge for Asian startups who want to expand their business into the US or North American markets. So we provide several different services, business development, marketing, as well as relocation visa support, as well as investment as well. We saw a niche market in that investment activities in the US generally don't cater to Asian startups. So we are filling that hole for them, creating a home for Asian startups outside of their home. So that's the elevator pitch of what we do.
Awesome.
Well, just talking about MediaTech Ventures, working with different Asian government and entities, we got to know MediaTech Ventures and got to know their collective and a lot of their great services they're providing. And we're working with them on doing several great events and projects this year.
Thank you all for the kind words. I'm excited to have this conversation and continue to have these conversations with other organizations like yourselves. We know that a lot of international companies do what you guys do, and you know, having these conversations, I think now more than ever is extremely important, especially as entire industries are being decimated by the current pandemic, and you know, everything's going through a massive transformation. So I wanted to start off with you know, why you all think, you know, given the current climate, why it's important that now that more than ever that we really collaborate with international organizations, kind of help foster the idea of entrepreneurship and innovation. Start with you, Camilo.
Thanks, John. So I think it's more important than ever because it really, especially for the startup world and for the startups from Colombia, if I may speak, you know, in a particular case of Colombian entrepreneurs, is that it accelerates the fact that, you know, accelerates the programs and the ideas and what they've got in mind. Current conditions is very, you know, it makes it much more important to be networked because it helps us validate business models. It helps us understand if we're going, you know, on the right road, if we need to make adjustments. It also means that, you know, the better we are networked and the more we participate in this international collaboration, the better we will understand the world and how these changes are really affecting us, all of us. And the entrepreneurs are a good metric. What they do, how they move, how they adjust is a good metric of how the world is changing around us. And being networked and being part of this collaboration, it really helps us also to see things a lot clearer, and we can react much faster. So, and I think this is one of the things that the entrepreneurs in this program with MediaTech Ventures actually have taken advantage of, is that they're really asking themselves whether they're doing the right thing and whether they're on the right road at the moment. So it's, you know, it's pretty helpful and very insightful for all of us.
Awesome. What about you, Marco, and in Italy?
Yeah, I mean, for us, innovation has been a mantra. As in the last few years, we had our president of our republic go to the West Coast and do a huge event with, you know, Stanford and, you know, so I mean, we have given the seal of importance and how can I say, then, you know, this is a characteristic of our offering to this market, you know, innovation. So that's one thing that will not change in the next few years, and that's why we try to place ourselves at the crossroads of innovation and internationalization in the best way possible. And this involves having partners, and partners are fundamental for our work. We couldn't do things on our own. We would need to have a huge office, like maybe some other country, but not Italy. I'm sorry. So we outsource work, and this is especially a good time to do that, because companies are now needing an entry point, and the entry point of trade shows is not working, except digital ones, which have had mixed results and have been received with mixed feelings. by those who participated. So we go back to the old, like I know you and you know another person and another person. So the old ways of networking, although with new means. And so, I mean, we banked on the partners that we have, including MediaTech Ventures and 2112 and Ham Hub here in Chicago, to create a program that would introduce the 24 companies that we're bringing this year to startup companies that we're bringing this year to Chicago in 2020 and 2021, actually, to the scene, so that they could, just make a splash. Let's say get their feet in the water before they would make a splash. Let's put it this way.
Sure.
So international partnership still fundamental. Partnership with vital and brilliant companies even more.
And MHub and 2112 are also doing incredible work in Chicago. So definitely excited about all of that. And Moses, as far as the kind of government participation in these things, what are you seeing with South Korea as far as the kind of this need to continue to have these conversations and kind of bridge the gap? Whatever.
Yeah. So a little bit about, I guess, a history lesson about Korea. For such a small country with only 50 million people population-wise, South Korea is always ranked within the top 10, top economic countries. I believe last year they were within top 5. The issue is that most of South Korea's GDP and economic growth is, you could count on your fingers the amount of companies. So it's a very small amount of company that's responsible for a large percentage of the wealth. Samsung, LG, Kia, Hyundai, these kind of companies. So the Korean government realized if these companies fail, then the country fails as well. So what they started doing about, I'll say a decade ago, about 10 years ago, is they start pumping billions and billions and billions of dollars in funding entrepreneurs and startups. And it's pretty much all, we call it seed funding, but the government gets no equity. So it's pretty much grants, I guess you can say. And you'll see in comparison for a seed funded level startup from Korea, the level of technology and innovation that's coming out is on par with the Series B startup here in the US. And we just think that there's a huge opportunity for investors and for the market here in the US to experience these great innovations that's coming out of Korea and other Asian countries as well.
And when it comes to industries kind of in specific, right? Obviously, everybody has their strengths. Some people have, their weaknesses. What are you seeing really kind of transform in your parts of the world? Start with you, Marco.
Yeah. Well, this idea that we can do well on digital in Italy as well is taking foot, believe it or not, and people are getting convinced now. We have a program to give 10% cash back if you do a certain amount of transactions with your credit card, which you can say, okay, well, anybody can do that, but in Italy it's not yet as widespread as in the US. So you usually pay cash, but we're inviting companies to, we're inviting people to rely more on everything that is digital, and everything that is virtual, and also through this kind of incentive programs that we're launching. So this is one side that will develop. It's already very advanced, and I'm kind of kidding there, because there's a lot happening, but it will advance even more in Italy, and I believe it will be a driver for years to come. What can I tell you? I mean, I believe that the drivers, the other drivers, will still be the mechanical industry and the machinery, industrial machinery that is very, very strong. The design, all the fast-moving consumer goods that are produced or designed in Italy as a tradition, but that gets also its innovative sides from time to time. So I don't think that the situation would change much, but we will see a rebound, and we will see some innovative sectors being how can I say, accelerated by the situation that is developing now, and in particular through the use of digital technologies. So I see a big role also for augmented reality, virtual reality, as a consequence of this. So I would say I would really bet on that in the next few years, and also in Europe, not only in US or other advanced countries like Korea, which I follow with great attention. Moses.
Well, the great segue. So Moses, what what industries are you seeing that have been really affected, right? But also that you're starting to see a lot of innovation in the South Korean side of things.
In Korea, I mean, for the past 20 years, Korea always had the fastest internet or data services. 5G was first tested in Korea. And I feel like just mobile apps and services in general and telecom services, we see a lot of innovation coming out of Seoul in general, as well as cryptocurrency. Korea is one of the biggest markets for cryptocurrency, to the point that the Korean government had to create laws within a week to regulate all the new coins that's coming out of Korea.
Wow.
We see a lot of innovation there, as well as esports. Anybody who's an esports follower or gamer follower know that Korea, strangely, anyone who's not Korean is considered a foreigner. So we call Korean gamers as, natives, and they've been dominating the space for so long and continuing to do that.
Yeah, especially early Blizzard, StarCraft, and
yeah.
I'll never forget that. It's insane to watch those kids play. What about you, Camilo? I've seen a lot of creative industry, big pushes coming out of Colombia.
Yes, indeed. And not just because of what we're living in through 2020, just because it also responds to the fact that we've been doing a lot of investment for the past 10 years. And so this 2020 has been an accelerating point for many companies that were kind of doing it, but not fast enough, or the market itself was not adopting new technologies. And because of what we're living now, then they're thinking about, changing that mindset. And so the entrepreneurs and the ecosystem in Colombia has been more geared toward fintech and creating all these, solutions for people and for companies that need to take advantage of what new technologies are out there to offer better services in the financial sector. Also for health tech. In health tech, we have seen an increase in the offering of Colombian entrepreneurs with new technologies and emerging technologies as well. And then we've seen that, traveling and crossing borders outside of Colombia with very good, innovation and solutions. And also with the AR, VR, with the new formats of digital content, we've seen many companies or, strong solution providers out of Colombia making that adjustment and offering their services and telling Colombian companies and, overseas companies that, the new formats, the talent that is available in Colombia and all of that. Because the times that we're living has actually, provided us an opportunity to do so. We've also seen some new things in education as well. Education has been, very impacted very much by new technologies and new ways of teaching and learning things. So I think, we have seen this transformation much more commonly throughout 2020.
Awesome. So I'm gonna pause there for a second and answer a wonderful question from a really good friend, Mark Cantor, on kind of the nature of our relationship. And so just to dive into that a little bit, we've known MediaTech Ventures, known Pro Colombia for many years. We've done a lot of stuff with them in the past, and the idea was, and all of these organizations that are here right now, a big purpose is to help bridge the gap, right, between their country and our country. And what a goal looks like for them is to have these organizations expand into the US market, or do more business in the US market, or find funding, investment, right, and partnerships in the US market. So what we did is we put together a program, and we're in the process of going through our first cohorts with each of these organizations on doing just that, around the idea that the success of the class is always going to outshine the success of the individual. And it's a lot easier for us to bring more attention to the startups, to the innovation, right, to find the resources and the right people, if we just do it in a class type of environment. We could talk about everything as a whole, and other than it being kind of these one-on-one consulting agreements, which could take up a lot of time, rather than putting 15 to 30 companies in one class and then bringing the right resources, community, capital, right, considerations, and access into that capacity. So I hope that answers your question, Mark. Really good question. Thanks for asking. I want to move now to figuring out what else we could be doing, right? I mean, I feel like this is between all of us, there's a really good relationship. We're just kind of greasing the wheels, right? Getting to know each other a little bit more intimately as far as the program goes. But what, in your opinion, I want to start with you, Moses, what else should we and could we be doing, right, besides just these programs, to continue strengthening, right, the opportunities between our respective countries?
Yeah, there's a lot of things we can be doing. I guess for US, for us in general, we can be providing a lot of, benefits for companies that want to expand into the US. There's just so many barriers and obstacles right now for foreigners or entrepreneurs who are not US citizens in trying to expand their business into the US. Visa is one. Also creating a US entity and going through that whole process. I'll say that from a Korean startup and Korean entrepreneur perspective, I'll say 90% of them actually expand their business into China because it's so seamless. And they don't like to, take the risk of expanding into Europe, into US. So we're losing a lot of innovation to China. And I feel like that's something that we can easily fix.
Wow, I love the optimism there on the China outlook. Not many people share that same sentiment, so that's good. I love it though. I'm a fan of that for sure. What about you, Camila?
I think that there's a lot of things that we could do. The good thing is that we have already started doing something. It's just when it's a good thing that we've taken that first step. We have started. Basically, what I would like to see is that we continue the communication, not just waiting for a program in a specific time frame, but rather keep those channels of communications open, keep those Slack, chats and groups open, so that we can keep exchanging ideas and things that can come across. Because the truth is that we don't know when the next big thing will hit us again. And then we'll have to make new adjustments again. And the more we talk to each other, the more we're connected and linked, the faster we will be able to react to something that might happen in the future. And then we can, be faster innovating and creating. And because, if we are internationally connected, I think we'll have a much, wider, I know it sounds logical, but then what it means is that we will probably be smarter and more intelligent in how we react to things if we can continue communicating and collaborating, internationally wise, with the people that we've met in this program. As a matter of fact, we could even continue connecting, delegations from different countries where, you, John, and the team from MediaTech, you are like the central point or the connecting central part of the program. But you could connect, countries from, or entrepreneurs from different countries that, you might find common interest among all of those people that are part of the programs, throughout all these years.
Completely agree with that. And I think that's something that we're going to be very conscious of as we go through these, as we see the types of innovation coming out of these different countries and how to better kind of tie everything together to really bring more awareness, more access, right? Because then we can really streamline things. We could figure out just much more effective ways to work and collaborate together. Marco, what about yourself?
First of all, I want to say what we are about to do, because not everyone knows it. Actually, I think it's the first time we communicate about this ever. So
Yeah, we haven't put a press release together yet. You're absolutely right.
exactly. So it's a preview. So don't quote me on that. But we're about to bring a group of 12 entrepreneurs to Chicago in 2021, and we still have to choose the month, of course, because everything is moving and fluid right now. But we hope that we can bring someone in person to incubate them at the 2112 incubator with the support of MediaTech Ventures in terms of training and situating these companies for 2 months. So it's not a huge period, of course, but that's what we can afford for now. And then the companies will hopefully try to grow the roots and make set out their antennas and tune in and try to come back at a later stage or stay on. We'll see. But the idea is to basically acclimate them to the U.S. market and possibly spear a growth here in parallel with their growth in Italy and in other markets. Now, this is one thing that is already a challenge, because you can imagine this program is 24 companies strong, of which 12 are going to this incubator, and the rest to MHub. And so it will take a lot of time and attention, and we'll grow within the program. And I believe that at some point, you guys have to connect with our office in Los Angeles, which covers entertainment and covers all the entertainment industry that is not basically printed matter. So radio, music, and cinema, of course, and TV, of course, and
Sure.
And because that's really a focal point for our action in this market. So yeah, lots of things to do, John.
No shortage of things to do. But fortunate for us, a lot of us are working at home, and we've got a lot of time. So we have more time to get some stuff done. So I want to wrap this up with one more question for everybody, and start with you, Camilo, on this one. I'm interested to know what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for ProColombia, and what are some of the objectives that you're really trying to move forward in? How can people that are watching this now and tuning in help support that or reach out and get involved?
That's a great question. We used to like to plan for 5 years. Well, yeah, now we don't know if we should do it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's blaming you on that one.
But we actually have learned a lot of things this year. We have definitely used our time wisely. We do have a picture of what Colombia, on these specific sectors that we talk about in this call, or we definitely are looking forward to working on more audiovisual content, media content coming out of Colombia, because you guys have seen Netflix and have seen the increase of Latin American content on Netflix, and a lot of it comes from Colombia, and then there's Mexico, and there's a lot of other options on how we the kind of options that we have now on different platforms. So we do want to continue playing important role in the content development for audiovisual purposes. Video gaming is very important to us. Animation. As a matter of fact, we usually have a pretty good delegations sign up for all these video gaming related shows, and the studios that are actually working out of Colombia are amazing. They're being able to showcasing their skills and their teams and all that, and then we have a huge admiration for what goes on in Korea, and then we always keep an eye on them because they do a lot of cool things, and that we've learned from them as well. And there are other areas such as cybersecurity, which a lot of our companies have decided to go that route. So we as ProColombia, we really are kind of walking along with the entrepreneurs to see what they're deciding on doing, and then we're kind of walking with them and learning from them and supporting a lot of the things that they want to work on, for the next 2-3 years, and be able to support their entrepreneurial minds and be able to find, partners in the US and all across the world, because, we have offices in 26, countries in the world. So we kind of need to have a, wider perspective and a wider expand our horizons in so many geographies and countries. So, just to sum it up, we're very close to our entrepreneurs, understanding what are they working on right now, what are developing, and then we come in and support them and help them expedite the make it faster, accelerate their processes, and understand where they want to be in the next few years.
So Moses, I know that with especially the governments in Korea, there's a lot that happens. There's a lot of different governments that kind of support and look over different sectors, and a lot of the investment actually comes from the government in a lot of these startups most of the time. How is that looking? Very similar question that I had for Camilo, and how does that kind of sway with Kotra and BSAN Global, and what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for you guys?
Yeah, our next 3 to 5 year plan is actually quite ambitious. We want to, continue expanding our services. We have several partners for different types of services we're doing. We partner up with a partner to provide visa support. Also, our goal is to have a physical building for our startups from Asia to have an office here in the US within this year. Also, we're planning to create funds to also help invest and go through that Series A, Series B funding that they need. A big thing about Korean government funding these companies is, for the past decade, they poured billions of dollars into sending Korean startups to Silicon Valley. They haven't found much success, no unicorn companies. So we actually see that they're not placing too much focus on Silicon Valley, so say, or they're placing focus on other areas, more industry specific, sending, like, for example, oil or health tech startups to Houston, sending, early stage startups to Austin, or you can say fintech startups to Boston and New York. So we see more of a focus approach from the Korean government on sending their startups and also funding them as well.
Awesome. Marco, finishing up with you.
Sure. I love that approach, Moses. And actually, we're actually doing something similar. So, for as far as the perspectives of what we do in the startup arena are concerned, I mean, of course, we will keep with this approach of sending groups of companies where they could belong. Okay. And as you were saying, Silicon Valley is tough. It's very tough. It's very competitive. We're not giving up on that. We have a court going there too, but we're mixing things up, and we count on Chicago to be the bedrock of that expansion in terms of industries that are physical, and also somehow in this area of entertainment and media, in everything that is digital as well. Now, zooming out. We just hired, I think, 30 IT engineers inside our organization. So one of the things that we will do is to transform, to do a digital transformation of the whole organization. So don't ask me exactly how this will take place. I'm here. In this moment, I'm a receiver of internal innovation, although I push, of course, my agenda, and I do my paper and my policy papers when I have time, and share them with the bosses. But they are now figuring out this. But for instance, one thing that we did recently was to launch our own trade show platform. So anybody who doesn't have the funds or the capability, but is running a show and needs to digitize it, they can come to us and we will lend them the platform. It's simple, but it's robust and working. So this is just at the level of my organization. I mean, in general, we just built a partnership between my agency and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we will build on that, and so we will align even more our objectives between the two organizations. And I believe we'll have to invest in communication because that's what they like, and they will have to invest a little bit on promotion and actual event making, and basically the nitty-gritty of our trade, which is what we like. So I do hope that this will create and will spark up even more business and more interaction with the markets that we're parachuting on. So,
well, gentlemen, we are out of time, and I am a really big fan of all of you and the work that you do, and it is very refreshing in very uncertain times to have very certain and thoughtful and forward-thinking conversations. So keep up all the great work you're doing. I'm looking forward to a long and fruitful relationship with each of you. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you can, hop into the environment. If somebody wants to have a conversation, look out for them. They might be around, they might not be around. Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
Very good. Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye, guys.
For those of y'all that want,
Thanks.
Sorry, Moses.
All right. We're back, and then I'm looking for your avatar coming out of the presentation room. So yeah, that was a really great conversation. Really appreciate them jumping on. All right, so where are we headed to next? Again, kind of virtually vlogging here and following John around. So where are you taking me next, John?
On my way out of the building. Give me 1 second.
In the meantime, your avatar is on its phone, like immediately. So.
Everybody join us in the networking room.
Heading to the
over there.
Yeah, we'll be in the networking room. So some people might have their avatars in the environment and watching the stream potentially. So if you want to head over there with us, John, I'm sure you'll be joining me in just a moment with your avatar.
Behind you.
All right, very cool. Yeah, so this is the networking space. You kind of see the stage area. Kind of an area for a video up there at the top of the stage. Somebody's dancing as we speak, so their avatar is literally dancing. So we're going to head over there in just a second and check it out. By themselves, yeah, that's pretty hilarious. I don't know who that is. Looks like Paul O'Brien is heading to the dance floor. So officially, Paul is to dance floor. That sounds like Paul, though. Yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, if you have your avatar in the environment, just go. Let's get a dance party going. That's cool. Everybody's kind of popping in here. That's hilarious. Paul was sprinting. I don't know if I've seen the avatar move that fast. That was awesome. That was hilarious. Anyway,
all right,
well, they're having
Lawson.
A dance party over there. Yeah, Dave Lawson's here, right?
I love the music. I don't know who programmed the music, but we should definitely find out. I'm not dancing though.
Oh, you're on the dance floor. Okay. You're not in.
There it is.
Yeah, guys. So again, thanks for being in chat. YouTube, Facebook. If you haven't hit the like button, make sure to do that. That helps push the stream to other people. Kind of in this little 15-minute window, a little happy hour / happy 15-minute window, right? So, this is one of the little kind of gamified experiences in the event space where your avatar can dance. So,
let's talk to Dave.
These are always fun. Yeah, so where is Dave? Did you find him?
Busting a move on the dance floor.
Oh, Dave's up there?
Can you guys hear?
There, all right. Yeah, Dave's here. There he is. What's up?
David Lawson, ladies and gentlemen, with Insperity, really good friend of ours, really good partner of ours. How are you today, good sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Actually, this has been a pretty amazing experience so far. I've been hanging out here in the networking room. And really, I've been dancing. I've had a cup of coffee. You can tell because I'm really pumped up. This is pretty cool. I'm looking at this as a way to meet with people here in Austin going forward.
So Dave, can you talk a little bit about Insperity, what you do, and again, I'm really big fans of Insperity's work and everything that you guys do, and how, especially now, perhaps more than ever, people really need to invest more in people and in their processes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good observation. In fact, I can tell you from my own experience, I don't really love working virtually. I'm disconnected from my team. And so these are the times when you really need to be reaching out to your people and making sure that you're connecting with them on a regular basis, making sure that you're asking them really simple questions like, how you been? How you doing? Are you productive? Like what's been going on? Talk to me. And those are actually, believe it or not, hard conversations for people to have, because you're asking people to be vulnerable at a time when they're vulnerable, right? But it's about human capital management, because those people, the people who you've hired and who frankly make up the bulk of your, or at least a very large line item on your P&L, are also, and if you don't take care of them, they're going to carry the load for someone else.
And what about support for kind of small businesses, right? Like, I mean, we know that right now it is very critical, and how you're seeing kind of media and technology help power your work, right? And get in front of more people in a more meaningful way.
Yeah. So I'll back up a little bit. Insperity is an end-to-end HR service provider for small and mid-market businesses. And what that means for all of the people on the in the virtual environment is simply that we come to the table, we become your HR department, because let's face it, the majority of small and mid-market businesses are the HR strategy or the human capital management strategy is developed by your CFOs, your CEOs. They're not really in the weeds in terms of doing the day-to-day activity of onboarding employees, creating job descriptions. And so Insperity does a really good job of filling in the gaps for those individuals so that you can focus on the strategy of running your business. And so in that respect, when we're talking about dealing with a virtual environment, there's a lot of specialized activities and conversations that you need to be having with people in order to make sure that they're effective in their role. Insperity helps you through that. We coach you through it and make sure that you've got all the tools that you need. And in a virtual environment, it is actually important that your team, your managers, your hiring managers, the people who are actually boots on the ground talking to these individuals are flexible, and they're pivoting their processes to meet with people within this virtual environment. And I don't mean this virtual environment here with GamerJob.
It could be this virtual environment here, right? I mean,
absolutely. In fact, the more time I spend here, the more I kind of want to like set up a desk behind the cafe.
We can make that happen. That's the beauty of virtual environments.
Yeah, I like it. But virtual is a state of mind, and if you're not on the phone, even with people on a regular basis, if you're not getting on Zoom chats with your people, you will lose touch with them. But more importantly, there are actual state and federal guidelines that you still have to maintain regardless of COVID quarantine, virtual environments, anything that we're doing now. You still have to comply. And that's what Insperity does for these small businesses.
So you're saying, in a nutshell, you make sure that everybody does what they need to do so you can do the things that matter most and not worry about all the things that could potentially put you at risk.
The leadership's real end goal is to make money for the business, make money in return for the investors. And if you're not taking care of people, you will miss that mark.
Got it. Well, hey, man, it was fantastic running into you in the virtual environment. I'm glad you were able to hop on and join us. How do people get a hold of you? If you want to reach out, talk more.
On LinkedIn, I'm David Lawson ATX on LinkedIn. I mean, heck, you can connect with me on Instagram, Dave Lawson ATX. But my email address, quite easy, david.lawson@insperity.com. And I'm happy to talk with you, whether you become an Insperity client or not. I want to help you through some of these hard, challenging times. So reach out, get in touch. Be happy to know you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, good sir. And we'll continue to dance with you, but from a distance, because it's good to practice social distancing, as you clearly stated.
I'm going to go over to the Avatar bar and face mask, because I'm definitely non-compliant at this point. Cool, by the way.
Appreciate you, Dave.
Thank you. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Thanks a lot, man.
So one of the things too in the environment, did I lose you, Chris? Where are you at? No, you're right by me. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I need to grab a coffee. Let's go grab a coffee really quick.
Yeah, I'm technically actually following you, not you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you, one of the things I like about this too is if you're in this environment and you want to have a private conversation with somebody, you could always click on them and invite them to a private chat, or you can go in one of these little blue squares here. And when you enter the blue square, you do enter a conversation with that individual, assuming obviously they've got everything unmuted and they want to have a conversation with you as well.
Yeah, it's like separate chat boxes, basically. For those that have never seen it before, so no one can hear you. They can only hear you inside that area. So
that's right.
Yeah. Quick shout out to everybody on YouTube. Thanks again for hitting the like button, all that good stuff, pushing out to other people. We're sitting at like 60, 70, 75 concurrent viewers, so it's really cool across all the platforms. So thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we have some incredible speakers lined up that are coming up now to do the keynote here in a minute. And stick around, folks, because we've got to show you a few of the graduates that went through the latest MediaTech Ventures collective that have graduated. So stay tuned for that. First up, we do have Mr. Brian Solis. For almost 30 years, Brian has studied and influenced the effects of emerging technology on business and society. His research books help executives and also everyday people better understand the relationships between the evolution of tech and its impact on people, and also the role we each play in evolution. As a result of his work, Solis also helps leading brands, celebrities, and startups develop new digital transformation culture 2.0 and innovation strategies that enable businesses to adapt to new connected markets from the inside out. I know that is a mouthful, and that's what makes it so exciting, because I'm really excited to hear Brian talk about what it is that he does, and kind of the future, what it is that we're looking at here.
All right, Brian's with us.
Welcome, Brian.
Hey, thank you so much. I am with you. Very cool to watch what's happening here in the virtual world, and also here on this side with the virtual world. So two different. Really enjoy what you guys are doing here today, and bringing people together, not just around technology, but around the people who are going to bring a new future to light. So how do you see this one playing out? Do I just start rapping and just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's all on you, my friend.
It's your floor, man.
Let me get a beat going and see what I can freestyle here. Hey, so I just wanted to share some, I don't want to say unprepared, because that's not what I mean. But how about a PowerPoint-free conversation about the importance of entrepreneurialism and creativity? We live in some interesting times, you could say, and to use an overused word, they are without precedent, and that's going to create a stage for a new type of opportunity and a need for a different type of innovation. And why that's important is because when you probably started on your path to entrepreneurialism, all of the ideas that you had, all of the aspirations that you had were, to put it nicely, part of another world. And I don't know that there's going to be that same world returning. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think the normal that we came into this pandemic with was part of the problem. There was a lot of inequality. There was a lot of Me Tooism out there. There was a lot of short-termism out there. And so essentially this is that Control-Alt-Delete moment where we can think differently about what that future looks like. This is not a new normal. This is not a next normal. I refuse to see the future as a next normal. I am not in a race towards normalization, and neither should you be. my role today is a global innovation evangelist at Salesforce, and that is that's an incredible opportunity to have at one of the most innovative companies in the world. And I don't take it lightly. And what it does is it keeps me in front of big companies, governments, small and medium-sized businesses, and I also stay in front of the startup community as part of our Salesforce Ventures team, not formally, but out of passion. And in my work, I could tell you that in this COVID world, and definitely in a post-COVID world, uh, what we're witnessing in terms of rapid evolution of consumer behaviors, aggregated consumer behaviors and their effects on markets, market evolution and their effect on business disruption beyond just the pandemic. Just to give you an example of how much disruption is to come, uh, in the United States, according to McKinsey, upwards of 75% of customers have already experimented with a different brand, a different retailer, and a different site during the pandemic. And about 60% of them are expected to stay with that new brand, service, site, or retailer. That's pretty big disruption. If you consider that what it's really translating into is that loyalty is up for grabs. So then you have to ask yourself, well, where are they going and why? And what are they getting there that they appreciate more? What pushed them over the edge? And I can tell if you look to startup innovation going back, let's see, I think I've been at this since 96, 97. Every movement has had its wave of purpose, to Web 1.0 and the rise of e-commerce, to the introduction of mobile and the mobile economy and the app economy in the mid 2000s, to the rise of social media and the real-time world. So what we have seen now in a pandemic is this constant race towards pandemic-inspired solutions. But look, we've got a few vaccines on the horizon, thank goodness. And so now we have to start thinking about what does a post-COVID world look like. And I don't know about you, but to me, it doesn't look like a next normal or a new normal. To me, it looks like opportunity. To me, it looks like a blank canvas. And that is the spirit of entrepreneurialism. That is to not go into this and say, hey, you know what? We're the Uber of this post-pandemic economy. Now, be your own self, be your own thing. So what is that? Clay Christensen, the brilliant Clay Christensen, rest in peace. Once, or not once, but he asked us to consider the innovator's dilemma. And I think in the time of great disruption also brings a time of great opportunity. So what that means is that we could play on those words and become the dilemma's innovator. There is no playbook moving forward. There is no case study to follow. I don't know if there's any post-pandemic courses being taught around the world right now. So essentially what that means is you get to invent, you get to create. And if you look at anywhere around what we're seeing in the economy today, with consumers experimenting with new brands and services, with companies of all shapes and sizes trying to figure out where to be in COVID and post-COVID, with all of the great inventions I'm sure that are coming to light right now, you can play a role in defining what that future looks like. And I think that's what's most exciting about this. I mean, look, I was actually in a conference earlier today with a great economist out of London, and she was kind of laying down some reality, and I'm not gonna lie, it took a big gulp of coffee to bring down that reality, which was that even post-COVID, post-vaccinations are going to take a pretty good amount of time to essentially saturate to the point of safety, and then the economy is going to take a little while to sort of rebound. So we're looking at realistically 2 to 3 years. Now, what that means is that 2 to 3 years is going to give you an opportunity to pivot where you are today, to consider where you could be tomorrow, and really think about the solutions that you could provide that are going to be highly in demand and highly necessary and highly pivotal to the world's economy, or any market economy. And so those solutions are needed. You as an entrepreneur are a superhero that's needed to accelerate that future recovery, and also to bring us not just to a pre-COVID state, but a better than pre-COVID state. That we could turn this around in a slingshot style into some greater trajectory, some true greatness that we can't experience unless you imagine it, and then that you build it, and then you make it a reality. So I'll probably get off my soapbox here, but I just wanted to take this time to share with you that, I don't know what you were working on coming into this pandemic, but I can surely tell you that we're in a world of hurt coming out of it. And if you're in the United States, we're in a world of hurt until we, number one, first accept it. Two, accept that we're not microchipping ourselves when we get a vaccine. And three, the faster we get our shit together, the faster we can fix this economy and make this country and this world and this and this community great again. So that's where you come in. Somebody's going to have to play a role in bringing those ideas to life. Someone's going to have to be inspired enough to see a new possibility in future beyond the next normal, so that we have a not just wonderful opportunity for ourselves, but those around us and for the generations to follow us. I mean, look, there's not no pressure whatsoever. But hey, if you've ever needed a sort of sense of purpose or a source of true, honest to goodness inspiration, there it is right there. This is without precedent. This is without a playbook. And you are the one who's going to write it moving forward. We'll follow in your footsteps. Just lead the way. Thank you.
Brian, that was fantastic, very powerful. We're going to take a couple questions. One in particular that I really enjoy, and I'd like to reiterate that, the MediaTech, obviously we're kind of everything that's transforming right now at a very, very rapid rate, which you touched on, is with our incubator. Of course, we definitely want to focus on how media obviously is in every industry and how it all can evolve and continue to push what's possible. Where are you seeing some of the most exciting, perhaps, innovation in the industries that have been maybe most affected by what's going on?
Oh, well, I'm seeing a lot of great unifications and great pivots around people doing things that they didn't know that they could do before. I mean, if you think about it, even I'm sure at MediaTech Ventures, everybody had to suddenly overnight work from home and establish all kinds of new engagement, education, training protocol. And look, I don't think anybody was coming into 2020 going, hey, why don't we just blow up the way we work and let's try something new.
Scrap it. Start over.
Right. So I think that in of itself is a demonstration of our agility and our resilience to do something new. I don't know that I've seen the next thing that's going to wow me in terms of an example. I can tell you that I have been wowed and continually wowed every single day by the resilience and how people are responding to this great disruption, and also how they're getting back to basics. For example, I was talking to the AAA Carolinas, and they said the first thing they did in the pandemic was they kind of got back to the basics of why they were a business why they're in their business. And they used their systems to identify people who were older and most likely alone. And they picked up the phone. I mean, like, technology right there, picked up the old school phone and started calling customers and asking them if there was anything that they needed. And sure enough, a lot of these people were without the ability to get out and get things like toilet paper and paper towels, and they actually went out and delivered it to their members. Now, that's not an example of true innovation, but it is an example of how we can put humanity at the center of innovation. Think about media and tech and platforms and communities as a business for good. In fact, we saw in a recent Salesforce survey, I can't remember the exact stat, but it's a really high number. A majority of customers now expect any business of any size to play either a societal or community role. And that means that beyond what we're doing with media, with technology, with our platforms, that we also have to have some role of serving people in it. And I welcome that.
Ted Cohen says hello, and he just wanted to make sure that he asked, is Ted as annoying for you as he is for us?
Man, I love that guy. I have spent time with him on stages all around the world, and I'll tell you, we have so many memories, and then so many memories forgotten because the times were so good.
So we got a question from Lauren. For companies across verticals, do you see that everyone will need to become a media tech company, or at least a company that embraces media technology?
Oh, hey, look, if you're not embracing media technology, I don't know how you're communicating with people.
Especially right now, right?
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't know. Like we talked about blowing up the way we work at the beginning of 2020. Now, I spent before joining Salesforce, I spent most of my time on planes, traveling around the world and speaking at conferences, and engaging in the startup communities within those countries. And now I have had to learn and master lighting and audio and video and all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you, I have never I've never been part of a more connected community. I've never been more inspired. I have never been more motivated to use technology for a very specific purpose. So the answer, is absolutely. BD technology isn't just in the ability to kind of communicate in the way that we're doing now. Apple's headphones that launched yesterday are an incredibly inspiring reminder of what's to come with spatial audio, spatial computing, spatial experience design. If it's a preview, not just of anything, it's beyond the audio. I'm sure it's gonna be linked somehow to some type of glass device coming out on the horizon. So we're gonna see media innovation and media tech just become the new hotness pretty quickly, and it is already. I mean, look at us here on StreamYard.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do have another question we're trying to grab here that's coming in hot and heavy. So let's go to Mark Cantor. Has a question on YouTube. Does Salesforce plan on funding and supporting these new post-pandemic startups? I'm sure that's a better question for Salesforce Ventures, to be honest, because I don't want to steal any of their thunder. But I spend a lot of time following their work and just truly as a fan of what Matt and company are doing over there.
And we've got time for one more question. This is my question now, because I'm very curious. Knowing that every organization, given the current climate, was forced into really understanding and leveraging the internet. How do you see kind of what are going to be the big impacts, in your opinion, with 5G? In the next kind of 5-10 years on all of that?
Man, that's the question of the minute. I'll follow up with an article that was just published in Inc. And I was asked that same question, and I had to be honest that I wasn't inspired by some of the applications that I was being introduced to. I went to a year ago on Thanksgiving. Don't judge me, but I went to a Chainsmokers concert
nice.
as part of a demonstration of in stadium or in arena 5G augmented reality experience as part of sort of this as the concert's happening. Also, this 5G augmented reality experience was happening as well. And it was promising, right? Essentially, what it was demonstrating is that in the real world with 5G, you could create sort of these parallel real world, augmented world experiences that essentially say that experience architecture is a big job or a big company or a big startup need moving forward, right? And so essentially, I'm a big Disney fan. So essentially what that means is that we're going to need Imagineers for 5G and experience design. And also, if you think about the amount of data that 5G is going to produce in terms of engagement, in terms of location, in terms of systems and sensors, we're going to have a new big data moment. And I think if we can pair that with artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, I think we can get some real-time insights through that bandwidth that are going to allow for edge engagement, right? So edge personalization, like Minority Report type of stuff, but in a non-creepy, cool way.
At least we hope. At least we hope. Right?
And that too takes experience design, right? So it's not creepy. And so I think that this next generation of media tech startups have to also consider themselves the Imagineers of the future, because that's what Disney did so well, is that you can walk into these parks, you can engage with animatronics and it not feel weird. It feels fantastical, and that is what I'd like to see with 5G.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Solis, thank you so much for your time, your insights. It has been an absolute pleasure having you join us in our first very immersive multi-stream event. You know, what better way to have you talk to our audience?
Mr. Solis, big fan of your content as well.
Hey, thanks, Chris, and thanks, Johnny. I appreciate it, and thanks everybody at MediaTech Ventures, and also to Ted for giving me some space to share some ideas. I hope it helps. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks. Next up, we've got Barbara Ford. Ford is an industry advisor with over 20 years of experience on groundbreaking film and TV production, including Game of Thrones, Maleficent, Alice in Wonderland, Shrek franchise. Previously, Barbara served as SVP, Digital Production Services at HBO, overseeing studio production, post-production operations, next-gen tech, and she has held key leadership positions at Digital Domain, Sony Pictures, ImageWorks, and DreamWorks Animation, where she co-engineered the first digital stereo projection system for the Shrek 4D theme park attraction. Barbara is a member of both Television Academy and the Motion Picture Academy, serves as vice chair of the Scientific and Technical Awards Committee for the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, and is a member of the Visual Effects Society Technical Committee. She studied art history and photography at the University of New Mexico and is now the CTO of Meow Wolf. Glad you can join us today, Barbara. Pleasure to have you. How are you?
Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm good. It's great to be here. This is really cool. I'm getting used to it still. The StreamYard is very cool. But I was enjoying the walk down Candy Cane Lane.
Yeah, right. You know, it's not the same as walking through, you know, like a refrigerator into a different room, but you know, we're getting there. You know, one step at a time.
It's very cool. It is portal. It is a portal for sure. It was great to listen to Brian Lawson. I'm honored to be even sharing the same platform with the guy. It was great to get that sort of broad view of things. As you can tell from my background, I'm pretty much entertainment my entire adult life. So my wheelhouse is very specific to the media and entertainment space. And that's what I was hoping to chat about today a little bit, and what I'm sort of seeing on the media tech innovation side of things. This is wild. It's hard to not want to start navigating an avatar. I'll try and focus on talking. All right. So I thought I'd start with Christopher Nolan's Angst, because that's kind of the talk of the town here. I'm in LA. And I think it relates a lot to some of the points I want to make about media tech. And if you don't know, he reacted with, I'll quote, some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service. Okay, what he's referring to is this announcement that AT&T made. Warner Media is going to be taking their 2021 slate and going out to both theaters and to the streaming service for a window premiere. And if you haven't been following this, this is a huge move. This is sort of what the theater owner's worst nightmare, and what sort of the artists and auteur filmmakers have been fearing for a very long time. So I just want to unpack that, and I'm going to put a pin in the thesis of the poison is also the antidote, to sort of unpack the sentiment of what I think Christopher Nolan is trying to get at. Early on in my career, I started out in color science and film engineering, and what a large part of my role was about was maintaining the artist intent of the filmmaker. So maintaining the look, the feel, the quality, the integrity of the image that was intended in the making of the film when it went out into distribution. So a lot of software, a lot of tools around, you know, whether it was the film, the television screen, the CRT monitor, out in the theaters, on film or digital projection, that you know, still maintained the highest quality of what the filmmaker was looking for. that was a lot easier to do when it was going film to film, or if it was going from digital to film and all film theaters and then eventually all digital theaters. As we've gone from one to many to many to many, that's been a lot harder to manage. But the other piece of this, aside from the quality of it, which, you'll hear from Spielberg and others, they were first lamenting the loss of film in the theaters, and now this idea that the cinema experience, that sort of Dolby cinema, large screen, immersive audio experience may go away. The other piece of this is something that I've been familiar with for decades, which is how they look at the performance of a film. And there's this magic number. There's this whole calculus around how you determine, forecast what you think the performance of a film is going to be, and what the return on the back end. So for people like Christopher Nolan, above the line folks, what they might make off that film down the long tail of its life cycle. And the magic number is the opening box office weekend gross taken. And then so if you imagine this idea that might get split, not just diluted, but literally, shifted from box office to subscriptions being the number that matters, that sort of upsets the apple cart of every sort of understanding of how deals work. And so I think there's going to be a lot of work to do there to reimagine how, and I think now, and I'll get into sort of my feelings about Netflix and why I think they're ahead of the game in that way. But that's changing sort of the sentiment towards the quality of what filmmaking is, the business behind what being a filmmaker is, and then of course the managing of what the brand is. And to quote Scott Galloway, because I thought this was really a good point he made, Hollywood has been featureized. So Hollywood had 100% control over what they thought was the best films to put out into the world. And if it didn't look right in the theater, well, that was the theater's fault. That wasn't really the filmmakers or the studio put it out's fault. As the material becomes featureized in platforms, if it's a feature on a tech platform like Amazon, that's one thing. Selling toilet paper is one thing, and selling streaming content's another thing. If you are a streaming service, to Christopher Nolan's point about we're streaming service, then the experience of that platform, regardless of how, where you're doing it, matters, and is it's associated with your brand. And I think Netflix, while they may not have all the awesome content, they're definitely winning in the logistics and consistency of a global brand for delivering that content. And I would say, from an innovation perspective, all studios, all content creators have to think about the sentiment of their brand related to the content they're putting out into the world. And I think some of the older studios are having to make some really painful shifts to get control of that. So one of the interesting things that I've sort of that really came to light when I moved to HBO, moving from feature film production into both a cable provider and streaming service provider, is getting to know multi-channel distribution. And what exploded while I was there was not just the distribution, so the long tail would be like it goes to the theater, and then it goes to premium on demand, it goes to home entertainment, DVD, and then it would go to television or to hotels and airplanes down the road. Now the big multi-channel really has to do with the engagement of social. Right, so as much distribution as we did to all those, sort of legacy channels, we had a massive distribution pipe to all the different social channels and ways that we could have fan engagement on specific titles and specific content. And I became really interested in how communities started to come around. Game of Thrones is an obvious case, but we had other shows, like Insecure and Girls, which had enormous communities of fans who were building content and material and worlds related to the shows we were putting out there. And I think, the sentiment that people can have towards the content and the brands that are delivering it, and HBO is, I think, like a gold standard example of this, really can create that loyalty that Brian was talking about earlier. So which brings me to my new company, Meow Wolf. I just joined Meow Wolf 4.5, 5 weeks ago. So I'm very new, I'm very excited. And what drew me to them is that they, first of all, is their commitment to what they're doing. They're a B Corp, and I should describe what Meow Wolf is first, which is it's a creative innovation company that creates awesome art, but that also supports and uplifts the community that it's bringing it into. They started with a handful of folks, an art collective in Santa Fe, and with some help from George R.R. Martin, built out their first immersive entertainment location in Santa Fe, and it's about a 30,000 square foot space. It's incredibly immersive, and I'll show some pictures if I can share my screen here. Maybe I'll show some pictures and talk.
Yep.
So I don't know if this is going to send all my screens. Do I have to fill my screen? Is that? Let's see if I can make this work. Bear with me a sec.
Yeah, and real quick, just a quick reminder, if you have a question for Barbara that comes up, thanks for posting it in chat. We'll get to those towards the end here. We'll stack those up.
For sharing, it doesn't seem to want to let me just do one screen. I don't want to waste too much time on this. Maybe I need to get out of.
I think we're all victims of too many screens.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to say to Google, because I don't want to waste too much time on this. Google, I have some great visuals, and maybe I can show them another way. But it was started as an art collective. They do these incredible immersive experiences, and one thing that is happening, part of their world, if you've ever been there, it's very tactile. So it's a lot of touchy-feely. You're going through portals. You mentioned the refrigerator. You can go through a refrigerator. You can go through a dryer. You can touch things. You can play things. And that all was very awesome until the pandemic. And it became really clear that we had to rethink how people are experiencing location-based entertainment. And so some of the things are, discussions around innovation and how we're evolving. And so this was the first space in Santa Fe. There's another one opening up in Las Vegas in February of 2021, and towards the end of the year in Denver. The one in Denver is a ground-up build, 100,000 square foot immersive space, and it's got loads of different interconnecting exhibitions. And so we've evolved. Initially, there was some work around immersive experience that were layered into the physical space. And you'll see a lot of that, like AR and VR and touch screen and RFID triggered activations. And so really started to look at that and how to make that more touchless, still very engaging and personally activated, but less touchy-feely, less needing to get the germ stuff out. And as part of that evolution, so Meow Wolf is also very layered and rich storyline. And those storylines play out through that space. They're connected between the spaces. So you'll see connected stories between Santa Fe and Las Vegas, between Las Vegas and Denver. And this larger story we see as an opportunity to really expand, like infinite real estate in virtual space. And so creating some social communities, so really getting involved in creating our participants space to have their own world of creation. So, one of the things further down the road is an eventual virtual platform marketplace where artists can come together, create their own collectives, create their own work, and actually exchange work in this virtual space. Yeah, but what I really love about, the other thing I'll say, about being at a company with purpose, which we think is incredibly meaningful to this company and what we're doing, is in each of these locations that they're building, these location-based entertainment spaces, they're also going into the community. Like Denver, for example, 115 of the artists involved with that build-out are from the local Denver area. They're artists working in Denver. And we expect, as we're even building out these sort of experiential layers and these virtual layers to it, we will continue to engage the local communities and connect them to the other communities that we're building as we move out into these other locations. And then last I wanted, because Lauren had brought this up, and I think it's a good point to hit on, I'll end with this, it's interesting being a female CTO, and I hadn't really reflected back on it until because it's all been going so fast. But I will now. It turns out, because I looked it up, there's about 9% of all CTOs are female. So that means, and the reason I bring this up, and it has to do with experience design, everything we're doing at Meow Wolf involves experience design. And as Brian mentioned, I think a lot of what folks need to be looking at across MediaTech is the experience design and how people are going to interact with it, and considering the diversity of people who are participating, and being more empathetic about design to be inclusive of all those folks. Did I run out of time?
No, you're good. We do have a couple questions we want to get to, though. Really
okay,
quick.
so I'll just finish this. So I think that the point I was trying to make is that currently that means that about 90, that the strategy, vision, and design is largely led, 90% by male voices, and I think that's something. If you look at media and entertainment, they're actually down sort of in the engineering ranks. It's higher. It's in the 30% range, but for whatever reason, it seems to thin out the higher you go to the top. And I think that's an area that I'm going to be very passionate about looking to change the demographics on. So I'll finish with that so you can ask questions.
Well, and yeah, I mean, we certainly want to help be a part of the conversation. I would think it is absolutely important, and here to help. Absolutely. Lauren did have another question, actually. So yay, Lauren, go Lauren. How are brands creating, growing, and nurturing digital communities using MediaTech? Meow Wolf is awesome at this, and how can we learn?
Yeah, I mean, Meow Wolf, I think, and I think HBO, Meow Wolf have this in common, is they're really good at defining a visual language that's consistent. So when you look at something, it's especially from a graphics perspective or typography perspective, it's Meow Wolf, or in the same way that it's HBO. And I think that's something that Netflix has also been really good at is having consistency across all of their experiences and having a strong visual brand, a visual language to their brand.
So maybe you can answer this question. Our friend Mark Cantor, love all of his questions, but I know you had a little bit of trouble with the preview, but he asked, is there a way that you could talk a little bit about how Meow Wolf will be bridging the worlds of kind of the meta space with cyberspace?
I would love to know what I mean, that's such an interesting question. It's one of the things that's hard for me to answer, because I feel like we're all still trying to define what the meta space and I hear meta space, metaverse, virtual world,
right,
like
immersive,
what each of these sort of things mean. I guess what I'll talk about Meow Wolf and what I mean by sort of we'll call it the Meow world, is that the bridges, I think you have a certain amount of, let me take a step back. So when you go to a Meow Wolf location, and right now that you can't go to any, but when you did go to Santa Fe, it's largely self-directed. There are lots of clues, there's layered stories, there's incredible visuals, but it's not you start here and you end there. It's a very self-directed experience, and you have a lot of agency. That I expect to extend into every virtual experience we put together, and ultimately into that sort of metaverse we're building around the Meow World universe, that you will have a lot of agency, you will have a lot of personalization ability to self-direct your experience, and ultimately leading into the community and connections that you make inside that universe.
That's awesome. Well, on that note, we want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. That was incredible. I'm really excited to see what you do with Meow Wolf. I'm a big fan of the company. I think a lot of people are, and they always keep things fresh and exciting. And you adding fuel to that fire is going to be extraordinary. So we very much look forward to that.
Thanks so much. Sorry about the visuals. I mean, I encourage you to, there's tons of stuff out there on everywhere, basically every social media. So I encourage people to go and check it out. And thanks for Chris for this whole experience. This is really cool. I hope I get to do something like this again. Thanks, you guys.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Barbara. Thank you. All right.
All right.
Next, John.
So now we're actually going to go and we're going to talk to 3 of the incredible startups that graduated from Collective's previous cohort.
Yeah, what we did, oh, sorry. So what we did is I followed John into one of the wing rooms. So the welcome room was where everybody was kind of in that general space, and then we walked to a wing room where we have 3 booths here.
Wing room, like a wing man, right?
All right.
A solid wing room and a solid wing man.
All right, Saeed and Kevin.
Getting the whole crew here.
All right, Saeed and Kevin, we are live.
All right. I turned on my mic.
Yeah, there we go. We can hear you.
Cool.
Thanks for jumping on, you guys. Really appreciate it. Okay, so we got Saeed and Jesse on. Thank you guys for jumping on. Really appreciate it. So we are over in the if you have an avatar and you're inside the environment, we are in the wing room. If you want to come join us and be on the live stream with the avatar, we're in front of Blockchain Video Services booth. John, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that, especially in the entertainment industry, is, the idea of, what's fair when it comes to monetization of your digital assets. And one of the things that I love about what Saeed's doing with blockchain video is demystifying that, but also leveling the playing field for content creators. So that without stealing his thunder, I'm going to throw it over to him now. Over to you, Saeed.
All right. Let me send some cheer up. Let's see that. Okay. Well, welcome to Blockchain Video Services. That's the name of our startup. And we are focused on disrupting video monetization for the benefit of the content creators. And that's what we live, eat, and breathe for. Next slide. We are essentially, playing in a market that essentially is about $500 billion worth. It basically is around content, video, and TV. And our share that we basically think that we can play in is basically a sliver of that market, about 10% of that, 55 billion, that straddles across content aggregation, distribution, and rights. Moving on, we believe that the existing content monetization approach by the existing video distribution networks needs to change radically, because the pain which has been magnified by the COVID epidemic basically is being felt globally, all across within the creative community. Content is king. You keep hearing that, but guess what? The bulk of the revenue is essentially being garnered and garnished by the existing video distribution platforms. And I just put some examples in here, like YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, but it's a pretty exhaustive list. So just for a fact, about 720,000 hours of video content is being created by the creative community per day. And guess what? They need a platform to be able to reach their fan bases and their customers. And that's where basically the injustice starts, right? Basically, they go to these video platforms, the platforms get enriched, and the video content creators essentially barely make any money at all. So we want to change all of that. And we want to offer higher monetization to the creative community by essentially our technology, which is pretty cool, as well as giving complete, freedom in terms of revenue models, as well as us keeping basically a very small, tiny sliver of any content transactions, about 2 to 3.5%, like credit card fee. How do we do that? We basically do that with a solution. I am on the BBS solution slide. So we do that with a solution that essentially allows us to eliminate middlemen and offer higher monetization. We know that we can offer 10x monetization over existing platforms. And how we do all of that is by basically licensing a very cool technology that cool technology is we have an IP, we have an exclusive license to the IP of that technology that allows us to virtualize large video files and convert them to very small size, manageable video data files, which are essentially mapped into the existing content, which remains stored wherever it is. And the magic comes in when we bundle that virtualized video file with the business logic, and then we leverage, the beauty of blockchain to actually eliminate middlemen, offer complete trust, basically provenance, proof of ownership, and so on and so forth, and all transactions are recorded, and all of that, all the goodies. Moving on to the business model and revenues. So we basically are looking at two different business models. One is a B2B2C, the other one is a B2B. We've done some number crunching in the program with MediaTech Ventures with the guidance from Paul and John and basically the mentors who stopped by. And based out of that, we think that the platform can generate about $90 million. And I'm talking about the platform. And then our slice of that is about 12 million in year 5. And moving on to competition, we do have competition in the space, but they're primarily grouped into companies who are already incumbents and who completely disregard the monetization need of the content creators, which has given us the opportunity to come in and try and basically play an active role in this space, as well as our peers in this space, which are using blockchain for the crypto side of it, and they're completely basically convoluted everything around crypto and crypto payments and tokenization and all of that, and not really addressing the needs of the content creator, getting higher monetization with reach, marketing, ease of use for the end users, and those are the things that we are championing. Moving on to the team slide, we are basically cumulative. Within the team, we have about 70 years of experience in the streaming video industry. I am the CEO. My name is Saeed. Chris is the CTO. And Jared is basically, he comes from a studio background and he's a board member. Moving on to the go-to-market slide, I basically hinted at we have two basically go-to-market strategies in play. One is a platform play. The other one is a licensing play where we want to basically license our content, license our technology to existing and or new blockchain platforms out there. And on the platform side, we're basically building something initially targeting professional streamers, video bloggers, influencers, studios, as well as advertisers looking for proof of view. Interestingly, I had a conversation yesterday with emerging new over-the-top TV company, which is looking to play a role in the golf arena. And they are looking for proof of view in advertisement as well. So that was an interesting side note. Timeline and ask, we're basically at a stage where our prototype is ready. We have a rock solid, basically architecture in place. We are seeking strategic partnerships and a seed investment that basically would help us transform our engineering prototype to a beta, where we want to launch a private beta and then go on and build more and actually do a launch. We are blockchain video services, and we want to disrupt monetization and offer content creators 10x basically of what they're getting today. And I'm going to end with a dance, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Saeed. Ka-ching, right? Ka-chow.
Ka-ching.
10x, baby. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And hopefully those of you that are watching and you're starting to see all these things come together, and it's very important to appreciate why we put this event together the way that we did. At the end of the day, we are in the the industry of entrepreneurship and innovation. And we all happen to be very, media professionals throughout our career. And we're doing it very, in the media industry, but it goes beyond just media. And so having the conversations internationally, moving into some keynote speakers, and now seeing some of the innovation coming out of the collective program is, in my opinion, just a really, really good way to kind of showcase everything that we've been working on, frankly, especially the Gamer Jive world that they've done an incredible job of setting up. And look at Saeed. I like your hat, good sir.
All right.
You have over there.
Let me dance again for you, Joe.
So moving on now, we've got a couple other startups, and we're going to wrap it up, folks, and let you get back on with your evening. Not too shabby. 2-hour event with a lot going on, a lot of solid information. Hopefully you took some notes. Hopefully you met some great people in the environment if you were there. If not, they're still there. Reach out, say hi, and let's go over to Kevin, an ATX music fan. Hey, buddy.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, man.
Good. Well, hey, this has been awesome. I think Jesse, Saeed, and I, my co-founders, we've all really enjoyed the collective. It's been 12 weeks now, so it flew by. But and then big thanks to Gamer Drive for putting this on. This is just a really cool experience. So we're excited to tell you guys about what we're doing and jump into ATX Music Fan. My other co-founders, aren't with me presenting, but they're here in spirit. There's 3 of us: Marlon Montgomery and Elijah Stout are on board too. So I'll be speaking on behalf of them. But let's jump into it real quick. So when you think about Austin's identity, obviously. You go back one slide too. I'll start on the title page real quick. But when you think about Austin's identity, one of the first things that's going to come to mind, not only here as Austin residents, but the outside world looking in on music, right? I mean, it's just ingrained in the city's culture. For those of you who aren't from Austin, I'm sure that you know that it's said to be the live music capital of the world, and citizens here feel like it's really part of the day-to-day life. You can hop to the next slide. And, the numbers prove this. So there's been recent studies, the Austin Music Census, there's been, quite a bit more. The Austin music industry injects about $2 billion in a normal year into the local industry. So all sorts of people benefited from it. Companies, obviously we have big players like South by Southwest and Austin City Limits, but then also we have these streets and these pockets of town and brands that really foster this energy in town and do make it a special place. Now 2020 came along, and me as a music fan, my co-founders as music fans are sitting here trying to find a way to connect online with the Austin music scene, right? Just as you could walk down 6th Street in a pre-COVID world, we didn't have that centralized place in this. So that was interesting, before the idea really came to us. If you, hop to the next slide here, so that's it from our fans' perspective, right? We're left searching for where can we go and watch this. At the same time, there's these trends that are being exposed on the business side, right? For venues and artists. They've been dealt, the past 10, 20 years, because Austin is a big city, it has big city problems like rising rents, right? Pricing out artists and venues alike. And what became clear to us, you could go one slide back. Sorry, I thought you were on the last one. There you go. What became clear to us was that, the pandemic accelerated these trends. And if these artists and venues didn't have a new way to innovate, they would run out of time. And that's pretty clear. There's articles coming out saying that 90% of venues could close. The city's raising some money, but it's just inefficient and made it there in time. You can hop to the next one now, John. So we, Marlon, Eli, and I came together and we said, okay, so there's this unique, opportunity where fans are missing out on a virtual experience. Venues and artists can't connect, in the same way that they could with their loyal fans who would just show up daily on a Tuesday night or something like that. And so we saw this opportunity to create a virtual digital Austin music scene. So just as you can on 6th Street, find, watch, and support local artists and venues, we wanted to create the same experience online. So ATX Music Fan is a marketplace for Austin music. It's a place where you can find new talent, you can support talent, buy tickets, watch shows, and just be a part of the scene as you would interact with on 6th Street or South Congress. You could hop to the next slide. So the product, when we think about the product, again, I said it's really a community, right? We're taking that same community energy and putting it in a digital space, creating a vessel from the digital to the physical world. It's a pay-as-you-go model, and we like to be open to really all, Austin music citizens. And we think that the biggest opportunity in terms of partnerships and sponsorships come because of that reason, right? There's a lot of Austin brands that are really committed to supporting the local music scene because it's such a key piece of the culture here. And we think that provides all sorts of opportunities to generate sponsorship revenue, but also to have key partners that we can trust and really spread the word with. And then we get down to the people and the promotion and the process, right? We think that this platform, it does come down to people. Right, Austin, the music scene is a people business. It's built off of relationships that have existed for a long time, and we want to enhance that. We want to highlight it. We don't want to take away from it. And we think that this is a great opportunity to do that. Next slide. And I got into the revenue streams a little bit here. So as I said, the platform is sort of a free pay-as-you-go model. Now with that, we think that, that creates some exciting opportunities for Austin CPG brands or local music companies to put their name on the site, whether it's advertisements or a key sponsor. And then secondly, because it's a marketplace, there will be transactions happening on the site, whether it's merchandise sales or ticket sales or private bookings, and we as a platform host will take a percentage of all of those sales. And then the last revenue stream that we're really eyeing early on here is this sort of experiential live stream aspect, where just as you have the energy in the physical world, we think we can take some of that energy, create an experiential virtual show or shows, and incorporate that with all sorts of nuances that the Austin scene provides, whether it's a delivery kit with an Austin CPG brand or a projector posted up at Zilker Park to watch a show. Opportunities there, and we're working on a few to get some early shows on board. You can hop on to the next slide, John. So, just to close it out, right? Like it's really clear to us, that Austin music, it's a key part of the city. Austinites want their city to thrive. The city from the public sector wants it to thrive. The companies moving here want that to thrive. But we're a big city now, as I said, and we have big city problems. And the question is how do we sort of maintain the soul of this city as we continue to grow? Right. And it's clear to us that when it comes to music, the way of the past is unsustainable. Right. And, music vendors, artists, they're going to have to introduce, a new side to this local music scene for it to continue to see the success it has for the past 20, 30 years. So we're creating a virtual 6th Street, if you will. Beyond that, we have an MVP live, and we're putting together our first couple shows. And, really what we're focused on now is just continuing to talk to all the fans, artists, venues that we can, gather some feedback, hear your thoughts, and just, so, that's where we're at right now. I think it's a great spot. I really appreciate all the work that the collective's done. It's just been a great experience. So if you're a music fan and you want to chat it up about what's going on here in Austin, I'm happy to talk anytime.
Fantastic. Thank you, good sir. And keep up the good fight. We need more innovation in this space now more than ever. And I know there's a lot of people doing a lot of good work in Austin. So glad we're very, very happy and proud to have you be a part of that as well. Fantastic. All right. Last up, we have Jesse G over here with Jive Hive. Let's get him on here. Hey, buddy. Nope, you're muted.
Welcome to the Matrix. I've been looking in every corner for Neo and all those other guys. I can't seem to find them, but they're here. I know they're here. I don't. At this point, you got to take both of them and hope for the best. You
know? Purple. All right, let's get into it.
Totally. Thank you very much for having me. Very nice to meet everybody. You know, again, as everybody has said, you know, the collective experience over the course of 12 weeks was amazing, and Gamer Jibe hosting this literally in the Matrix is quite surreal. You know, the story that we're going to be getting in today is around the last 12 weeks that I'm excited to share with you. So if we can, you know, we can kick this off and we'll go down the rabbit hole with you. There we go. So the global music industry was 50 billion in 2019, right? And according to Goldman Sachs, was projected to be 130 billion by 2030, right? With this near 50-50 split between recorded and live. But for every 1,000 of recorded music sold, only 23 actually makes it back to the creator. So artists now generate more than 80% of their income live and still only achieve about 7 to 12% of the gross revenues. Now it's not really a mystery, right? We're in the midst of a global culture crisis, and you'll hear a lot of people talk about, you know, COVID wiping out the creative economy, and it's going to take a lot of heat, right? But the fact is that it accelerated and amplified, you know, a lot of problems that already existed. So creators out of desperation now, right? You know, they're running in any direction they can to keep the lights on, even as going as far as selling their own rights to their own music, giving up their IP forever, right? Looking for any way they can to make a buck. So my name is Jesse. I'm the CEO and founder of Jive Hive. You know, I was born a drummer. I spent 10 years on Wall Street, 10 years in B2B SaaS, and for the last 5, you know, I've been bootstrapping to gain intelligence across all these fronts, right, to dissect why this problem is still so prevalent. And over the course of 5 years, you know, we produced 300 shows. We built a label from scratch. We got our first release on a Billboard chart. We took a trip to the Grammys. We evaluated over 25 venues for acquisition. And we always had the same premise, you know, how do we dissect all of these elements, right, and utilize those experiences to create a self-sustainable economy, you know, so creators can live and sustain and give us what we love most. Well, we want to dive into this market. We want to understand, you know, what's happening here and sort of really find a thoughtful approach, right, to an age-old problem. So we've got this $45 billion industry that just lost $25 billion overnight on the live side. But as we accelerate this digital footprint, one of the most dependable income streams for creators has always been their direct relationship with fans. We know that a slice, right, that direct slice, when it's associated to education, has always been a trusted and dependable value exchange between creators and consumers. So that's the point that we're looking to sort of really dig into and understand elementally. So we are building Jive Hive. It's a platform that enables creators to establish their own B2C SaaS businesses for on-demand experiences directly with consumers. Every creator will have their own channel and ability to curate a micro community. This community of customers where new products can be created, right? They can invent new ways, right, to monetize themselves and their relationships. And at the same time, fans having an opportunity that they've never had before either, right? the ability to sort of request and demand particular experiences now that this new access point has been given in real time. So the opportunity to establish subscription revenue, right? Everybody's, been around the SaaS block once or twice, right? It's never been better. And a crazy example would be, Cardi B, recently launched an OnlyFans page where she charged $4.99 a month for exclusive content, right? 1.6 million of her 75 million plus Instagram followers, right, which is about 2% conversion rate, signed up. Now that platform became a revenue center that now creates $8 million a month in new incremental income for Cardi B. Now that's a top upper echelon artist example, but she's not alone. Artists of all sizes, right, are quickly responding to the current conditions. But there's also an interesting story there, and that is that this opportunity actually represents a better life balance. So on the left, a typical mid-tier concert with an artist who charges $10,000 a night for a show. Notice all the moving parts and middlemen. At best, 25% is making it back into the pocket of the artist, and this must be rinsed and repeated forever to make a living, right? Hotels, cars, buses, planes, you name it. An unforeseen byproduct, 73% of working musicians self-report mental illness, and only a fraction think the industry is doing anything about it. Now look at the right. If the same artist could convert 1% of their Instagram following into subscription revenue, you can actually liberate this economy and give that same creator control over their life again. So what we're looking at ultimately, right, is a two-sided exchange, right? We have to drive adoption, by first focusing on onboarding 50 creators that will currently generate direct income with fans today. We'll automate conversion campaigns to help target 1% of those Instagram followers to come over, and look to diversify those segments, right? Maybe it's the segments by size. Our models are based on, the different sort of universes that these artists have created in their socials today. Now, everybody, I think, has sort of, been, your social feeds, your inboxes, right, across the board, right? You're being requested. Your attention is being requested, from all angles, right? And I really think that this vertical is really just getting started. Most of these live streaming platforms, right, there's not a ton of differentiation, right? I mean, this Gamer Jive experience is a great example, right? This is a unique one-time experience, right, that can't be replicated from top to bottom. And my dependency, if it's currently on the industry stakeholders, right, to generate revenues, right, it becomes a real uphill battle to establish a business. But the magic of creating a category, just like Gamer Jive is creating a category for us today in regards to events, right, is an opportunity to not only provide the creator a new income stream, but also to establish a true one-to-one or one-to-few settings where these unique experiences, can be had at any time. So should we be able to empower, right, creators effectively and amplify this sort of fast changing consumer habits? And Brian spoke about it before, right? We're in a brand new world, right? And all of these habits are going to change so rapidly. We're offering this sort of new access point that even with modest estimates, the upside can be, quite attractive. So if we broke that down, in 5 years, if we were able to onboard 25,000 creators, convert 1% of those social followings into 6 million paid users, the company can generate more than $500 million in gross revenue before we even touch other verticals suffering similar consequences. Now, let's think about it. We're talking about the artist, without, a concert, but what about the chef without a restaurant? What about the fitness instructor without a gym? The business leader without a conference, just like, we're here today. So, as we turn this brutal page into 2021 and we onboard, our technical and marketing co-founders, we're going to chop our efforts into 4 major quarters: develop, launch, learn, amplify. Now, even though this is a a result of 5 years of blood, sweat, and tears. We know this is early stage, right? Given the fact that we are pre-product and we're leaping into the next chapter to bring all of these experiences forward, if this story is interesting to you, if the battle of art and commerce and the seminal moment that Brian highlighted before, that's literally going to change habits for the next 20 and 30 years, if this particular intersection is one that's really passionate for you, we'd love to meet you and we'd love to talk to you. So thank you for taking the time with us today. Please stop by the website, come say hi at the booth, come, ping me on this thing and dance in front of me like Saeed did. This, as John highlighted before, this creative economy needs as many believers as we possibly can to sort of protect what makes us human. So I appreciate the time. Thank you very much. And thank you, Collective and MediaTech Ventures.
Thank you. Fantastic as always. Really, really excited about Jive Hive and just the gravity of how all of it's not right. I mean, art is so, subjective. And I think that when you really open those doors and you allow musicians to create art, and you allow your yoga teachers to create their art and your chefs to make their art, I really love the vision I've always loved the vision of the platform. So yeah, fantastic, folks. So as you can see, you can click on any of these presentations at any point in time. There is a method to the madness, hence why we did it for the presenters today. You could go through the slides. You can go to the websites, absolutely reach out to these individuals. They are looking for help and they're looking to grow. And this was a big opportunity to do just that. So thanks, Jesse. And we'll talk to you later.
Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, folks.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, that's going to wrap up our very first multi-immersive streaming push, global.
No injuries. Like I'm good.
It really
no
is
issues,
the global MediaTech Convergence.
Okay.
And we want to thank all of the speakers, ProColombia, BSing Global, Italian Trade Agency. Thank you to Barbara Ford and Brian Solis for blowing our minds on the future, what's to come, and to everybody asking questions and tuning in. This is the first of many, in my opinion. And obviously, thank you to all the startups and your dedication to helping solve really big challenges and do really big things. And thank you to Gamer Jive for making this virtual platform and making it a reality. And of course, Chris Reed, we wouldn't have been able to do this without you, my friend. So Level Up Experience, check it out. Chris is always talking about the latest and greatest when it comes to technology, immersive, crypto, gaming, you name it. He's great at what he does, and it's certainly a pleasure to have him here. If you want to find out more about what we're doing, you can go to MediaTech.Ventures. And we are accepting applications now for the next collective cohort that will launch in Q1. So go to collective.mediaTech.Ventures, and you can apply there to get into the next cohort. And we will see you in the environment, everybody. I'll unmute myself for a bit here and say hi to all of our friends.
Yeah, just a quick shout out to everybody in chat. We were 40, 50, 60, 70 plus concurrent viewers. So thanks for being with us. Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great questions, a lot of great presentations. Keynotes were on fire. Startup showcases were awesome. So thank you guys so much that were a part of it and the ones that jumped on chat. So we will post produce this, put some clips together and all kinds of good stuff. So and try to chop that up and put that out there on socials.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care, everyone.